We're changing the coolant on my 2013 328i X-Drive. Super easy. Turns out way easier than I thought. You remove the air box. You got to take this clamp off. The thing basically pops out. You got to undo the MAP sensor. And to get the coolant out, you basically have to remove the lower rad pipe right there. And if you can see down there, the water pump inlet pipe. Right here, the hose, there's a clamp on it. I'm just going by what the Bentley manual says, so I mean, it's pretty good. Ready to put this back together. I'm going to wash it off because I'm sure there's still coolant laying underneath the car there. Made a bit of a mess. You can never really catch it all, but anyway. Yeah, I'm going to put the pipes back on and then garden hose this thing off, and then we'll top it up and go from there. Just a bit of a tip here. When you're tightening up a clamp, going from past experience, just make sure you get the clamp exactly in the same spot on the hose that it was when you loosened it off. It deforms the hose over time, obviously, when you clamp it down, and if you don't get it in a perfect spot, it won't actually clamp the same as it did before, and you may have leaks. So I've just washed this thing off, garden hosed this thing out. Hopefully there's no coolant left hanging out, you know, clinging to the bottom of the car somewhere. But yeah, just be careful not to get any water in the intake. That would probably be bad. And yeah, I filled this thing up with what do I got here? Prestone, European, Volkswagen, Audi, BMW. I know there's probably people that are going to be hating on this, but Prestone says it'll work. Prestone says it'll work, so it'll work, right? That's how it goes. I'm actually quite amazed. I filled this thing up, and as you let this thing sit, it actually does a reasonable job of burping the air out of itself. It kept bubbling for about 10 minutes, and I kept adding more and more and more. Okay, now we're gonna start bleeding this thing. It's pretty neat, actually. You turn the car on, and make sure the lights are switched on low beams, I believe. Heater's on max, fan low, and now I floor it. I'm told 10 seconds. Alright, it is actually purging. The manual says to keep the cap on, but meh, it's more fun seeing it. And that way you can top it up and keep the reservoir topped up. The water pump's down there, it's doing its thing. It started off slow, it didn't actually take off right away until I actually came out and started staring at the engine, and then it took off. So just be aware of that. It kind of goes on and off and on and off. 12 minutes is how long it'll last, and then it'll stop by itself. I do have a battery charger here. They say to hook up a battery charger, but honestly, I got it on a 2-amp charge, and this doesn't need a battery charger. I'm just gonna go ahead and turn that thing off. So obviously, before putting this air cleaner assembly back in, probably not a bad idea, because I'm here, I pull this thing out. I've never changed this thing before. I'm just warning you, because hey, I bought this thing with 72,000 kilometers on it. It has 120 now, but I don't go off-roading or nothing. And you know what? That's still pretty clean. So we'll just leave that bad boy alone and put it all back together. One last thing, hey, don't forget to tighten the clamp on the bottom of the air filter. You don't want to dust out your engine. I hear that's really, really bad. I know that's really, really bad. I don't want anyone blaming me for not telling you to tighten that clamp. And also, I will not be held responsible for anything that you do in a stupid way while trying to do this and break things. I know that I do enough stupid things on my own. One last thing, I'm about to pull this belly tray back onto the car. I forgot to mention to pull it off before, but you know what? I'm not going to teach you how to take it off. If you can't take off a belly pan, then please just don't do this coolant flush on your own. Just take it somewhere, please.